Let me turn this. Let me turn Do Not Disturb on real quick because we live actually. So, hey, y'all, what's up?
Khan, you're
Go
here.
ahead and kick it up. Go ahead and kick it off, brother. Salakia.
Khan, Khan. Hey, Shalom.
Shalom.
First, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah,
Yahawah,
Ba'atim,
Hashem,
Yahawashi,
Yahawashi,
Ba'atim,
Hashem,
Ba'akadah. We give double honors to our apostles and elders, a great millstone, that taught us truth and will well. Salutations to you, hopeful excellence in this truth and honesty and sincerity. Yahawah being the true name for Heavenly Father. Yahawashi being the name for his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus Christ. We the brothers at GMS Kansas City camp. Coming to you another week in, week out, just to do an edifying lesson through the Spirit. We're going into this is sit down. This is a study lesson, breaking down the book of Maccabees. So we're going to pick up where we left off, the last class on this, and continue to build from that.
Khan. We went through we went through the first chapter this week. It's based on the second chapter, and really the second chapter when you really goes into the Maccabean revolt, it really goes into the integrity, and it goes into being vigilant for Yahawashi and Yahawashi, because the whole conception of the book of Maccabees is basically us revolting against the Greeks, the Idumeans, which is the Edomites, simply because we was forced to keep their laws, and we were supposed to keep the laws of the Most High. So it's very essential for the times we're living in now in America to follow the same standard, because they're getting ready to push a system on us that's going to try to do away with our power and do away with our connection with Yahawashi and Yahawashi by ultimately worshiping an AI God, which is artificial intelligence. So when you read in the scriptures, mainly the particular captivities of the Greeks and the Romans, is the same story being played out today in America. That's why it's such an important thing to have that relationship and have that vigilance and that diligence and that conviction of the Spirit of the Lord, man. Because without conviction, you'll fall for anything. Okay, because solely in this time we living in, conviction is going to be what sees us through, being convicted in our beliefs. This is what the Maccabees believe. Okay, so I have a little history on the Maccabean revolt just to refresh you brothers out there. You very few sisters that watch. The Maccabean revolt. This is from Wikipedia, the Free Encyclopedia. You can look it up. It says the Maccabean revolt was they call it a Jewish, but we know that it's the Israelites rebellion led by the Maccabees against the Seleucid Empire, which we know is of Esau Edom, which is of one of the four generals of Alexander the Great. Okay, you had the Seleucids, you had the Ptolemies, you had Cassander, Lacedaemonius. Okay, and I believe the other one was interchangeable with one, but mainly this is focusing on the Seleucid Empire, which was later headed by who they call Antiochus Epiphanes IV. Now it says against the Seleucid Empire and against the Hellenistic influence on Israelite life. Now, when you go into that word Hellenistic, that right there proves that these were Israelites, but they had a forced lifestyle that was being put upon them. It's what these wacky-tacky Christians are not understanding, because they're missing the history that we're actually going into. Like if you was to take this whole concept and put it after the book of Malachi, okay, in before the New Testament, then they will understand about who the Jews and the Greeks and the Gentiles really the New Testament is talking about, to make that point. But it says the main phase of revolt lasted from 167 to 160 BCE, which BCE goes into before the Christian era. It says it ended with the Seleucids in control of Judea, okay, which inhabited Jerusalem, which is the Israelites. But conflict between the Maccabees, Hellenized Jews, and the Seleucids continued until 134 BCE, with the Maccabees eventually attaining independence. Okay, so that's just a brief history on that, and we can go into a little bit more. But if brother want to start off Second Maccabees, the first chapter, and just read, we just hit a couple of points, and whatever precepts come to mind, we can, we just follow the Spirit. So y'all got it.
Khan, this is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 1, and it says, In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the sons of Jorib from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. And he had 5 sons, Johanan called Caddis, Simon called Thashi, Judas, who was called Maccabeus, Eleazar called Avaron, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphas.
Now, do y'all know what the interpretation of the word Maccabees mean?
Yeah, kind of roughly translates to hammer.
It means hammer, exactly. Con. And that's
Yeah.
spiritual though. Why? Because there was that weapon that the Lord used, that battle axe, and a weapon of war to use against Esau Edom at that time, man. That's why we always go into the concept of omen omens, names
Mm-hmm.
having heavy meanings to it. Like Jacob,
Mm-hmm.
Jaquan, meaning he is a supplanter, and then he actually lived out that aspect of supplanting. Esau being wasted away as he. You look at Esau's character from his pigment to his character to his mind. He is wasted away because the Lord is going to do away with him. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you got
Yeah,
it, bro.
kind of. I had it here from the Bible dictionary. It tells you briefly of the Maccabees, the family of a priestly descent that freed the Jewish people from the Syrian yoke. The name Macabre, which is the Hebrew word, which means hammer, belonged properly to Judas, the third of the five sons of Mattathias.
Right, because he was chosen as the leader. He was actually the third son. Okay, he was actually the leader because, for one thing, when you read in the first chapter, it says he is basically roughly paraphrasing. It tells you that basically he was of the strength. So basically, he was going to be the councilman of war. But then you had the other one, which was of wisdom. So he was to take
Mm,
count. You had different councils among these men that fed off each other's talents. In Judas Maccabee's case, he was like the military general because he was known for the renowned strength.
mhm.
You know.
This is First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 6. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, Woe is me! Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers. Her temple is become as a man without glory. Her glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets, her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation hath not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils?
You can break that
All
down, bro. You break that part down. You break it
Yeah,
down.
yeah, Khan. This is you can see how harshly we were treated during these captivities. It wasn't just a new management coming in, where you just change hands from the Greeks to the sorry, from the Babylonians to the Greeks. They put holy hell on us, man. That's why when you read um, in scriptures like Ezekiel, you see the Lord. He's not sparing men or women because you read our babies got slain, man.
Right.
They literally took out our infants. They defiled our temples. They took our women. They humiliated us in all kind of ways. And the Lord had us go through all of that, for a reason because He's gonna do them twice as dirty. you know.
Right. Con. Well, going into a little history on that, like when you actually go into the history, it says the oppressed Israelites were not long in finding a champion, but when the emissaries of Antiochus arrived at the village of Modin, about 15 miles west of Jerusalem, and when you look up the Modin, it's called the Maccabean Ra'ut or Ra'at, which is what they call it Israeli city located in central Israel, about 35 kilometers or 22 miles roughly southeast of Tel Aviv. So this was the pretty much the circumference or the historical land that we inhabited at that particular time. All right. It says the population density in that year was 1,794 people per square kilometer. Just to give you a little history on the area or the plain it was at. And
Mm,
it says about 15 miles west of Jerusalem, and they expected the aged priest Matthias to set a good example to his people by coming forward to offer a pagan sacrifice. See, beginning of that Hellenistic period. Because for one thing, why would a known priest sacrifice something pagan, something of idolatry into Yahawashi and Yahawashi? Because it was being pushed on them during the time of the Greeks. Because remember, even before uh, the Seleucid dynasty was into power. Remember, Alexander has set up certain cities to make everybody Hellenized anyway for a so-called peaceable or so-called more convenient way of life. So Jake already had understanding of heathenistic customs then, and from
yeah.
the various captivities we were scattered abroad in. So it was like a common thing among Jake to sacrifice idols into Yahawah or to their particular gods at that time. All right. But it says, but when Matthias refused, a timid Jew came forward to perform the sacrifice. Then this enraged the priests approached the altar and killed both the apostate Jew and the emissary of Antiochus. With his 5 sons, Matthias destroyed the heathen altar and fled to the hills to avoid reprisal. But others of persuasion joined the family of Matthias in the waging guerrilla warfare on the Syrians and the Hellenistic Jews who supported them. And the Orthodox says, and they will not fight on the Sabbath day, which will result that they were in a distinct military disadvantage. So that's the reason why they had to go up and fight against them on the Sabbath. That's why they attacked us on the Sabbath day, because they felt, well, these men are priests. They're not going to break the law, statutes, and commandments. They're just going to sit like ducks and let us kill them off. But the Spirit of the Lord hopped on them to fight the Greeks and to kind of fend them off, for lack of a better term. So,
If I can add, going to verse 10, say, First Maccabees 2, verse 10, it says, what nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? And as you brothers were going into, the geographic location of Israel, we know that's in the region off the Mediterranean, which is in the middle of everything.
right.
You right by the European continent, and you right above the African continent, and Asia is right to your east. So that's really you got access to a lot of different kingdoms. So without Yahawah Bashim Yahshua, hey, it's hard to hold on to that. It's hard to hold on to that land. You see, and that's why you see throughout the Maccabees, this chapter and the other chapters, it's always changing hands between who's in power, who's in control, because everybody's involved because you're in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and that makes sense though, because that area is a very lucrative area. For one thing, a lot of nations fall over it because you got to understand the Mediterranean Sea is really like an enclosed circuit. That's why it's the way it is. It's like almost like you ever seen like irrigation systems, or like y'all went to like a shared aquarium, and how like the aquifers and so forth are like a particular substance, is because it's like a closed domain, so to speak. It's cold blooded how the Lord set that up, man. Because I was doing some research on the Mediterranean, on how it was just why it keeps that particular temperature and why it has that color, is because it was like a closed circuit. Beautiful. But
Got key riverways in there too, man, to get it to other parts of the world, to other access to the other oceans.
Yeah. Because it reads here. I was kind of looking into it about why it was so clear, and it was basically going into it's basically like a closed system. Like I said, it's a closed system. It's practically a lake, but if you look at it on a map, it's landlocked on all sides. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of landlocked, so that's why it keeps its colors. The Lord is cold-blooded, man. And that's a beautiful sea, bro. You know what I'm saying? That was very lucrative in trading and fucking fish and particular substance and mackerel, bro. Like, that's why that land was so prominent at that time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, con, absolutely, bro.
Y'all got it, bro.
You more on that? Y'all had a precept?
No, you got it.
You on verse 11,
Okay, Salaki. This is First Maccabees chapter 2. I'm gonna start at verse 10 again. It says, "What nation hath not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman she is become a bond slave. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory, is laid waste, and the Gentiles have profaned it. Till what end, therefore, shall we live any longer?" Then Mattathias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourn very sore. And I'll read that, man. It reminds me kind of the state we was in right before Nat Turner rose up, man.
Mm-hmm.
Jake was just out there through, and then before Nat Turner stood up, that's when Esau was making the most money. Like, he was bringing that hella slate up. He got that cotton gin.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, it's like when Jake was fed up, Nat Turner got pissed off, man. A spirit jumped on him.
Didn't you have like 60 other men with him?
Yeah. I think it grew to like no, he killed like 300 men. Yeah, I think he had like 60. He killed like 300 people, man.
that revolt started off other revolts because you had, even when doing the Gullah Wars, you had nothing but Levi and Reuben. They was revolting against the cavalry at that time too, man. Like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people don't understand how Esau learned that guerrilla warfare is from Levi and fucking Gad and Reuben.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They actually trained the U.S. cavalry on how to use the weapons, on how to engage in stealth missions. It's crazy how we actually taught the devil, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And he used it against us.
Yep.
It says, verse 15, in the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city Modin to make them sacrifice. And when many of Israel came unto them, Mattathias also and his sons came together. Then answered the king's officers and said to Mattathias on the wise, thou art a ruler and honorable and great man in this city, and strengthened with sons and brethren. Now therefore come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done. And the men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem, so shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends.
Hey, so
And
this
thou,
is where Jake got it, man. Salakia, reading this and getting a visualization. Here you are in the chosen land, the area how Bashim Shai gave us, and you physically can see the destruction that's taking place. That should put such a level of vexation on your spirit to set you on fire, and that type of power, that fervent, hatred for the things that we going through is what is fuels brothers to even come into this truth and try to go out there and teach, man. And that's the problem with Jake, because they don't want to stand up for nothing. You know, you're supposed to be seeing the oppression that you're going through and have a problem, with being a part of this fucking system, not bowing down like a damn simp or Uncle Tom and celebrating, the destruction of your own people, man. And that's
yeah,
what, and that's what the nation of Israel is going to get so judged harshly for, because Jake is a fucking homeborn slave, man. Jake loves it here.
uh-huh,
But I had a quick precept, Ecclesiastes 7:7. It says, surely oppression maketh a wise man mad, and a gift destroyeth the heart. So you
mm-hmm,
ain't supposed to be accepting no fucking gifts from these people after they got all our shit ransacked and taken down. When you look how great we're supposed to be and see the potential of what we truly are, we're fucking kings and princes and princesses, man.
yeah, con,
Jake don't fucking know their worth. And that's, like we talked about Nat Turner, he got tired of fucking oppression. You see, we're better people than these damn devils. And he
right,
knew a little bit that didn't they call him the preacher? He started reading about Esau, who the fuck he really was, and knew this man was beneath us. We ain't got no business fucking
mm-hmm,
serving this damn devil.
yeah,
Yeah. He
con,
he also understood that he was an Israelite, man. Because he already had the spirit of a priest, because even before Esau, he was actually preaching the Sunday sermons, man. Because out of all the slaves, he was actually one that was like articulate enough to kind of understand the Bible. But Esau wasn't expecting him to put the pieces together to formulate who they was in the scriptures, because I believe it was one prophecy in the Bible. I forgot which one he read, but he said when he read it, like it was like an eclipse, and then he said the spirit of the Lord hopped on him, man.
God,
I forgot. I gotta watch the movie again, but it was like a particular scripture that he read across, and it clicked in his mind.
yeah, con,
You
right,
know?
right, God, and it was
They
that
actually got
rebellion that led to fucking them devils even trying to create that whole movement of establishing the 13th Amendment like that. Esau only did that shit because he was scared, to the point, like bringing up the Gullah Wars. Hey, the
Yeah,
niggas was taking over, man. That shit was spreading. That was about to be over the whole fucking nation. You about to have Jake and fucking Gad wreaking hell on these damn devils. So they had to come with a psychological plan to keep us down.
well, thank Levi for that, man, because technically, be honest with you, Jake damn near freed themselves, bro. A lot of Jake freed themselves in that, during the time of them Gullah Wars, man. You know what
God,
I'm saying? Even before the cavalry came and put more numbers in, basically what happened was they came up with like a pact or a treaty to pretty much put Jake back in like a servitude. It's almost like today, like you have contractual slaves. Like Jake fell for the okie doke of what they call the civil rights movement, not knowing that when Jake was segregated, they was actually doing a lot better. okay? Because during the time of 1918, 1920, during the time of Red Dawn and Black Wall Street and so forth, Jake, they wasn't really under the, I mean, they was under Esau's jurisdiction, but they was pretty much independent from anything contractual-wise under Esau. So that whole civil rights movement, just like during the time of the wars, bro, they came up with some type of plan and they turned Jake against each other. And before you know it, Esau uses witchcraft, but it was all prophecy because it was prophesied that Esau Edom was going to be the ruler in his time. So no matter how many times we freed ourselves or how many slave revolts we did win, it wasn't ultimately prophecy to overcome them at that time. And I got a precept. This is the book of Jeremiah 2, and I'm going to start at verses 13. It says, "For my people have committed two evil. It says, they have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and hewn them out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water." And what's an example of a broken cistern? Fucking Christianity, man. Okay? Like you see all these jakes now trying to hold up this sweet Jesus doctrine. But it's getting cut up because it has no substance. It has no residual in it. You know? Jake is leaving that shit left and right. You know? But it says here, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? It says, then why is he spoiled? And the question to that is, technically it should be a no, but the answer is really yes, because if you look at Jake now, they're totally company men, man.
Yeah.
Like, we had a department meeting today. The whole building had a meeting today, and 90% of my job is straight Jakes, 85% women. The other fucking 10% is Jake men. The other 5% is Edomites. 2.5% white women, 2.5 Edomite men. But Jake is fucking happy to be there, man. They think they really making a difference in the world.
Yeah. Weak ass niggas, man.
You can read 19 through 22.
Jeremiah?
Oh, no. You're right on that Maccabees. Because
Oh,
it kind of go with that brother Yahawah was saying earlier.
Con.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna make a point on verse 17, where it says the king's officers said to Mattathias, "On the wise thou art a ruler, an honorable man, and great strength in this city." And he strengthened his sons with brethren. He went to fulfill the king's commandment first. So this was Esau coming to a leader, a perceived leader, and we see that again with the civil rights movement, man. He tries to pick a leader and corrupt him. Like you had guys like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. These are all guys that Esau talked to either through the FBI or some other kind of, three-letter agency and co-opted those guys. Marcus Garvey, W.E. Du Bois. These people were all compromised leaders that Esau went to first, just like he did in the Maccabees. He said, go and follow the king's commandment first, because he knew if he got a leader to bow down and to sell it to Jake, that he was going to get more.
Well, yeah, excellent point, because W.E.B. Du Bois, which we speculate on him being a terror, we don't know, but even Marcus Garvey, what's his guy's name, Frederick Douglass, a lot of them guys, they was sabotaged by the NAACP, because believe it or not, Amalek came up with that whole concept. Amalek started NAACP, a bunch of Amalekites.
Right. Yeah, controlling everything, man.
Yep.
But I go down verse 19 up.
Yeah, 19 through 22.
This is First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 19. It says, Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers. God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. We will not hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left.
Yeah, you see, that's a very bold move, because when you look at the world around you and you see all your other neighbors being conquered by a superpower, shit, mostly people just bow down. But that's why Yahawah gave us the law and gave us that zeal for righteousness, the elect men, to where we don't give a fuck how mighty a fucking country could be. Going into that Jeremiah 28:8, you see? So certain things you're just gonna have to stand on, man.
Right.
You have to stand on with your life. And that in the time of the Maccabees, it was a matter of the law and they customs, man.
Yeah. I had a quick precept to go with that.
Go ahead, bro.
Here's Romans chapter 11, verse 2. The Most High hath not cast away his people which he foreknew. What ye not, the scripture said of Elias, how he maketh the intercession to the Most High against Israel, saying, Lord, they have killed thy prophets and digged down thine altars, and I am left alone, and they seek my life. But what saith the answer of the Most High unto him? I have reserved myself 7,000 men who have not bowed the knee to the image of Baal. So that's the Lord having a man that's going to stare basically death into the face. You know, they're going to see prophets being persecuted and still stand, like the brother was saying, man. You know.
Well, and you know, it's spiritual too, bro. Because like the brother made how the commandments was set up far instead, but you had wicked ass priests like alchemists, which basically was like he was of the priesthood, but he was the left hand side because basically uh he was pretty much like he embraced Hellenization, man. And if you go into that word alchemist, it goes into God will rise, which is translated roughly paraphrasing in the Hebrew, Allah Quam, which means God will rise. Quam means rise, Allah's power. But basically, he was says he was a moderate Hellenizer who favored the ruling government of the Seleucid Empire. So you had sellout niggas then. You know what I'm saying? You always, a lot of times how the heathen got above Jake is because you had sellouts.
Yeah.
Who would know our laws and customs better than other Jakes, man? You think Alexander knew our customs better than us? No. But when he came into the temple, who did he bow down to? He bowed down to the priests because they accepted him, man. You know? So, of course, you had wicked ass leaders like the brother May mentioned earlier. Esau come to Jake with bags of particular goodies, like the scripture said, gift destroyed the heart. He come to Jake and he bribe him to stop keeping the commandments, man. Because see, Jake always in that spirit of seeking preeminence. We want it now, versus waiting on the blessing of the Most High. Well, look, man, fuck that. I can get you paid right now. I can make you the high priest of this office, man. You can be a ruler over these people if you just accept the gift I give you now instead of waiting for your successor to die, then his son, and then you next in line. Maybe if somebody don't kill you, that's not enticing to a nigga, man. Nigga want it now, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you were saying that they always use Jake, as the brother Uriah made that point earlier, they use the Israelite to fool other Israelites. Apostles always said they're gonna use niggas to bring in that sea hit, man. Not to go off topic, but it's the same methods being reused.
God.
God, it's the old playbook trick, man. And that is applied to you see what's going on with a lot of these false prophet camps today. You know, they sit up here and they take a bag from Esau and then they teach contrary and they don't want to teach the whole truth. They hold back on certain prophecies, don't want to teach what the C-hip is. You know, they don't want to go into the MOTB. They're going to say, you can do this, you can do that, or this is done away with, or the book of Hebrews is not done away with, all this other shit. Them niggas, they took that damn bag, man. And you're going to pay for that shit. You know, and you ain't about to sit here and try to justify that you supplanted Esau to get some money and then you're going to teach the truth later. Nah, nigga, you already went off. You already sold out, man. You know, you're not using the world and not abusing it by doing some shit like that. You coming against the Lord's ministry and his word, man. If you neglect to warn the people what the scriptures say, you know, their blood they're going to require at your hand. So you niggas that's not teaching the whole truth, you hold back shit because you got bribed and you know who you are. You know who you are. The Spirit going to reveal all you motherfuckers real soon. And you're going to come out with it. And the Lord going to judge you publicly for that shit, man.
Right, brother.
First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 23. It says, Now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews into the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment, which thing when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled, neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. That's that same spirit that overcame that Turner, man.
Yep.
You know, 1 minute he's listening to the slave Bible breakdowns, and the next minute I ain't take this shit no more. How you said in that movie, Dave Chappelle said in that Martin movie, I can't take this shit no more, man. You been talked about me enough, and he just flipped, man.
He said, you can
And
talk
you know
about
what?
this
He was
stuff.
killing everybody. He was killing white babies. He was killing women. That's why they were so scared of him.
Yeah, bro. He had that spirit of vengeance on him, bro. When King
Yeah.
David said, "Happy beasts should be thy little," and that taking and smash thy little ones against the stones, bro. He was
Uh-huh.
in the Lord put a spirit on him, and that was
Yeah.
then. So how much more now when we get that power to execute, bro? The anger of the Lord came on that Turner, bro.
Uh-huh.
Take a
Yeah.
baby and smack, bro. That's heavy.
Yeah. Like that said here, he said he inflamed with zeal and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Man, he lost it, man. You know? And this is the same thing happening again today. So it is pretty relevant because that one world that Antiochus wanted us to worship back then, that one government, well that's the beast today, man.
Right.
You know?
Well, yeah, it same thing going back to the Tower of Babel, Nimrod. The New World Order has been tried in several instances and they all failed. Every last one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, basically, this is the Maccabean revolt broken up against the New World Order at that time. Come under the Hellenization of the Greeks and live or keep the commandments of the Lord or die.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, the slogan of the New World Order today is no mercy. So,
Yeah. God. It says, verse 25, also the king's commissioner who compelled men to sacrifice, he killed at that time, and the altar he pulled down. Thus dealt he zealously for the law of the Most High, like Phineas did unto Zambri, the son of Salom. All right, and that matter was I believe the Levite priest Phineas, man, caught Jake in an adulterous situation, and that same spirit of righteous anger came over him, and he slew him, man. You
put
know,
his ass right to death.
you see the Lord, got that he recycling that spirit to come back. In verse 27, it says, and Mattathias cried throughout the city with a loud voice, saying, whosoever is zealous of the law and maintaineth the covenant, let him follow me. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city.
So basically, they forsook everything. They said, you know what, man? Fuck this shit. We gonna follow you because we believe in our power, man. Ain't no way in hell we gonna stand back and let this madness happen, especially when there's power in our hand to do something about it. Sure, we outnumbered, but regardless, like when you look at today, like even in the truth, what happens when men come up against the doctrine? Who defends the gospel first and foremost out of all the Hebrew Israelite camps?
Mm-hmm.
Great millstone. That's the reason why you see us getting on all the other counts because we actually coming to the defense out of zeal for the Lord, bro.
Mm-hmm.
IUIC ain't cursing. The only reason why IUIC cursing out ISUBK is because they members got hemmed up and another Jake got shot.
Right.
But other than that, you don't see Nate correcting Johanna on what the mark of the beast breakdown is, do you?
Nope.
You don't see that, man.
Nope. Because
But
those guys
GMS,
really don't have a breakdown. All they can do is nitpick at Great Millstone's doctrine, but they don't really have a solid one of their own.
because they're too proud and they're too proud to admit that GMS has been teaching this truth, man.
Mm-hmm.
They'd rather be proud and have a fragmented doctrine before they submit themselves to a bunch of bums.
Yeah. Come on, brother. But this is First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 29. It says, then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into
And
the
you know what,
wilderness.
man? Salakia, brother. I'm going to say this. My bad. You Jakes are full of shit, man. You know this. See, like, if this was a video we was doing on a black woman, you know how many fucking views we have right now?
Mm-hmm.
It'd be 100 views right now because everybody want to hear us curse out Keish. But when we going into history, you got 5 fucking you got 5 people that's listening, man. I think we had like 6 or 7. Now I know connection issues and stuff like that, but when you're talking about things that's education, like Apostle say, education, Jake don't like that, man, because it's too boring. It requires you to be locked in because Jake don't know how to sit the fuck still.
Right.
But we was cursing out the black woman or bringing up some NBA young boy got judged, and this whole live should be popping with precepts. It's 6 brothers on here, and we ain't got a fucking precept yet, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You Jakes, man, you're full of shit, man. But go ahead, bro.
And this story is more relevant than ever, man, because it's basically happening right now again.
Right now, yeah.
You know? But verse 29, it says, Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there, both they and their children and their wives and their cattle, because afflictions increased sore upon them. All right. That remind me of these women, like you brought up, that's the spirit. Y'all gonna be saved through men of the Lord, man.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all wasn't getting saved until those righteous men separated themselves and went to do battle. That's when those women followed, man. You know, if you don't have a man of the Lord in these coming times, bro, you fucked.
Well, hey, when we went into the wilderness, they said the women they followed us, man. They went
Mm-hmm.
behind their men. You think that men that and that's how they knew. That's how women are very hypergamous because when they see the power, they're gonna follow that. Like
Yeah.
the fact that we was like, all right, well, we gonna break off and we gonna do we gonna come up with a plan. We gonna strategize on how to take these men out. And the women they saw that because they saw the power that these men had. They saw the conviction they had because it wouldn't benefit them staying in the city at that time to be taken over and forcibly put into captivity. It wouldn't benefit them.
Mm-hmm.
So what was Keisha talking all that stuff this day? You know, that
Right.
day. You know?
Right.
Got a quick precept.
Go ahead, bro.
It's the book of Ezekiel 34 and 25. And it says, "And I will make with them a covenant of peace, and will cause the evil beasts to cease out of the land, and they shall dwell safely in the wilderness and sleep in the woods." You know, we're approaching some time, because everything we're reading about is a parallel to what we're about to go through right the fuck now. And we have to know and remember as brothers that's doing and fighting for the Lord that we're gonna be persecuted, but the Lord gonna be our defense, man. The scripture said we dwelt safely in the wilderness and slept in the woods. And the scriptures also talk about how he calls the evil beast to cease out of the land. He gonna send ravens to feed us and everything. All of that, man. He gonna have a fucking mountain lion to come bring you a fresh kill and drop it off at your feet. And brothers gotta have faith in that, Just because you're getting persecuted and you're gonna have everyone fucking hate you, come against you because you're coming against the system, just like we read about within the scriptures, they came against the established order in the system. They got persecuted, they had to flee.
Well, can you read that scripture again? Read that
Yeah.
again, bro.
God, it's Ezekiel 34 and 25. It says, "And I will make with them a covenant of peace, and will cause the evil beasts to cease out of the land, and they shall dwell safely in the wilderness and sleep in the woods."
Yep. Yep. Con. And too, also, like beasts of the field, like even though the animals, but the beast represents these heathen nations too, man.
God.
But
Hey, can you read that part again in Maccabees? Looking at verse 28,
29.
28.
God.
28 through 30.
This is First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 28. So he and his sons fled into the mountains and left all that ever they had in the city. Then many that sought after justice and judgment went down into the wilderness to dwell there,
Right. Keep going.
both they and their children and their wives and their cattle, because afflictions increased sore upon them.
Right. And that's a tactic that our people use, man, when persecution come upon them. They flee. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's better to run and fight another day than to just die there straight on.
Mm-hmm.
So for every Israelite that had to flee Israel or flee Jerusalem, that's another Jake out there scattered in a lost land.
Right.
This is why you have the New Testament to bring these Jakes back, man, because persecution was happening so frequently and so harshly, they had no choice but to flee their own homeland.
Yeah.
But as we know how prophecy has it, each Israelite of the elect is gonna come back to the Lord and to Israel ultimately.
Right.
God. And that brings to mind one more precept. Book of Matthew. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24. I'll start at verse 16. It says, "Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house."
Right,
And it says, "Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes." It
right.
says, "And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days."
Mm-hmm.
It's
So,
nothing new.
God, and we just seen about it, when they and the Maccabees, it said, They fled. They had to go. So when a spirit compels you time to leave, it's time to bounce. And then the last part of that precept that says, "Woe unto them that give succor to them days." That's directed to them women.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Like I was saying.
Well, going back to that point, when you're going into the history, it says Seleucid King Antiochus IV Epiphanes launched a massive campaign of repression against the Israelite religion. It says the reason he did so is not entirely clear. It don't have to be clear. We know that this is all based on a birthright. Even back then, this is all trying to get the birthright back. Remember the prophecy when Jacob supplanted Esau, it says, "The days of my father draw nigh," roughly paraphrasing, "and the days come near that I should slay my brother Jacob." So remember, this is the same story of the birthright. It's basically a fight over the birthright. If I can eliminate Jake as a whole or take them away from who they are, and ultimately maybe the Lord would give me back the birthright by default. But Esau is not spiritual, you see. And it says, but it seems to have been related to the king mistaking an internal conflict among the Israelite priesthood as a full-scale rebellion. Well, that was just surface shit. But overall, the deep spiritual message behind all these stories of Jacob and Esau is over the birthright, man. Okay. And it says Israelite practices were banned in Jerusalem and was placed under direct Seleucid control. And the second temple in Jerusalem was made a site of sacred pagan Israelite cult. Okay. It says this repression triggered exactly the revolt of Antiochus IV had feared, with a group of Israelite fighters led by Judas Maccabees and his family rebelling and seeking independence. It says the rebels as a whole will come to be known as the Maccabees, and their actions will be chronicled later in the books of First and Second Maccabees, man. Okay,
Yeah.
for a little history on that. But you got it, brother.
If
I'm
you
gonna
want,
try to
I
keep
can
this
I can
under an
keep reading
hour.
for you if you good.
Hmm?
I said if you want, I can keep reading for you, kind of give you a break
You
and
go
shit.
ahead,
Yeah,
Toss,
go ahead, brother.
because I wanna keep it like at an hour, so we don't really go over, and we still got a couple of precepts to go. But you got it, bro.
Come.
This is verse 31, First Maccabees 2, verse 31. Now, when it was told the king's servants and the host that was at Jerusalem in the city of David that certain men who had broken the king's commandment were gone down into the secret places in the wilderness, they pursued after them a great number, and having overtaken them, they camped against them and made war against them on the Sabbath day. And they said unto them, let that which ye have done hereto suffice. Come forth and do according to the commandment of the king, and ye shall live. But they said, we will not come forth, neither will we do the king's commandment to profane the Sabbath day. So then they gave them the battle with all speed. Howbeit they answered them not, neither cast a stone at them, nor stopped the places where they lay hid, but said, let us die all in our innocency. Heaven and earth shall testify for us that ye put us to death wrongfully. So they rose up against them in battle on the Sabbath day, and they slew them with their wives and children and their cattle to the number of 1,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
Which, we were going over this, before we did this lesson on how that's really over righteous, man. Like we can understand, like you trying to keep the laws, but hey, man, if motherfuckers trying to put you to death, defend yourself, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be overrighteous to say, "Oh, it's a Sabbath day. I can't prevent myself from dying." Because you're gonna be in jail trouble. Hey, you might have to put somebody to death on the Sabbath, man. To stay alive, to live another day, to make it, got to
Mm-hmm.
do that.
Yeah. Come.
But say, verse 30. Now, when Mattathias and his friends understood hereof, they mourned for them right sore. And one of them said to another, if we all do as our brethren have done, and fight not for our lives and laws, it says, and fight not for our lives and laws against the heathen, they will quickly root us out of the earth. At that time, therefore, they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against him.
Well, Pete, this
Neither.
is Salakia. Let me bring this precept out real quick. This is the book of Ecclesiastes 7 and 16. It says, be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself? right? And that's the excellent point you made, because they basically said, well, look, we're going to fight against them on the Shabbat, man. We're going to do X, Y, and Z, because in certain deeds, it is lawful to do certain things on the Sabbath, like Yahawashi healed on the Sabbath. Okay, if you had an ox in a ditch or a cattle that was stuck in the mud, you're not going to go out there, oh, it's the Sabbath day. Them IUIC guys will stone you if you went out there and got if your dog got hit in the street on a Sabbath day by a car, according to IUIC, you can't go out there and get him. He just got to lay dead. Well, you got to let him die.
Till the sun go down.
Yeah. If he's still living by the sun go, then you can go pick him up. That's bullshit, man. That's stupidity. Well, go ahead, brother Slaki.
It say First Maccabees chapter 2 verses 41. At that time, therefore, they decreed, saying, whosoever shall come to make battle with us on the Sabbath day, we will fight against him. Neither will we die all, as our brethren that were murdered in the secret places. Then came therefore unto him a company of Assyrians, who were mighty men of Israel, even all as were voluntarily devoted unto the law. Also, they that fled for persecution joined themselves unto them and were a stay unto them. So they joined forces and smote sinful men in their anger and wicked men in their wrath, but the rest fled to the heathen for succor.
Niggas, man.
Yeah, that's it. You know, those two battles, man, it reminds me of the two times that Yahawashi was here, when he says, if this kingdom were mine, our servants would fight. That first time, he suffered us to take a martyrdom stance where the prophets got hands put on them, we got put to death. But he promised the next time, just like in that second battle, they said, look, we fighting this time. We're not going to sit here and let y'all just kill us. When Yahawashi returns in that second battle, man, that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
You know, those prophets are not going to be in the spirit of martyrdom. They're going to be in the spirit of vengeance, man, through Yahawashi.
Yeah. And in a time of trouble, you know, Israelites that have a righteous zeal, they cleave the men of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
They left their cities, they left whatever they was at, and they found, you know, the Maccabees and joined the revolt, man.
Yeah.
And hey, once again, comparing it to today, you know, each brother might have to lead 50 men, you know, because they see the wickedness, you know, because every Jake ain't gonna want to get a rice grain, man.
Right.
You know, every Jake they ain't gonna want to do all that, but they gonna hear men of the Lord doing things and they gonna flee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you got to remember, man, 1/3 is a lot of brothers. You can see we don't really see that much, you know, at
Right.
least around Kansas City. But the Lord gonna have ways of having those brothers manifest or follow you at some point. You know.
Yeah. It's going to take a lot of life and death activity to activate Jake. Salakia.
Well, this is the book of Exodus 18, and I'm going to start at verses 25. It says, and Moses, matter of fact, let's get the whole account on that real quick. We might not make it through this whole chapter, but it's all good. Let me get this real quick. I'll just go to the scriptures. I ain't going to type it in. Exodus 18 verses, bam, here we go. Exodus 18, and I'm going to start at verses, let's start at verses 25. It says, and Moses chose able men out of all Israel and made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of fifties, and rulers of tens. And they judged the people at all seasons. And the hard causes they brought to Moses, but every small matters they judged themselves, man. Okay. Remember, that was advice from Jethro, because he basically told Moses, like, look, you're going to destroy yourself in these people. You need to set up leaders. So right now, as you see with the different camps, this is all paternal leadership that's set on from on high, because like the brother said, you may have to be over 50, 60 people, man. You may have to be over 10, 15 people. You may have 20 women that's going to come with you. You may have whoever, 15, 30 men, and then you're going to have to know how to lead these people. Like the elder brother Michael Olive from Dallas. Every time he come down here and we link up with him, he always say, hey, y'all be ready to judge, bro. Back of my mind, I'm like, what do you mean by this? But now it's clicking like, oh, shit, this is what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's coming to the time, brothers. People watching videos, man, and you know, through the spirit, we already gonna know what to do. We've been rehearsing it. You know what I'm saying? It's all gonna fall in place, and what you don't know, you're gonna learn as you go. But
Mm-hmm.
definitely, man, people gonna be looking for men of the Lord to gravitate to because the scriptures say wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy time. So definitely. But you got it, bro.
First Maccabees 2 verse 44 again. So they joined forces and smote sinful men in their anger and wicked men in their wrath, but the rest fled to the heathen for succor. Then Mattathias and his friends went round about and pulled down the altars, and what children soever they found within the coast of Israel uncircumcised, those they circumcised valiantly. They pursued also after the proud men, and the work prospered in their hand. So they recovered the law out of the hand of the Gentiles and out of the hand of the king, out of hand of kings. Neither suffered they the sinner to triumph. Now, when the time drew near that Mattathias should die, he said unto his sons, now hath pride and rebuke gotten strength, and the time of destruction and the wrath of indignation. Now, therefore, my sons, be ye zealous for the law, and give your lives for the covenant of your fathers. Call to remembrance what acts our fathers did in their time, so shall ye receive great honor and an everlasting name. Was not Abraham found faithful in the temptation, and it was imputed unto him for righteousness? Joseph, in a time of distress, kept the commandment and was made Lord of Egypt. Phineas, our father, in being zealous and fervent, obtained the covenant of an everlasting priesthood.
Yeah, Shalaki, brother. This,
You're right.
this right here, bro. This is the equivalent of that Braveheart speech, man.
Yep.
Like this is what you tell Jake when you riling them up, man. They on the front line on the battle. You just having them call into remembrance all of the times our forefathers overcame, man. Had very great feats of faith, and accomplishments, man. Salaki, I just wanted to say that. Every time I read this, that verse starting at 50, it always amped me up. Because it's like, man, like, fuck this shit. Stare death in the face, man. Our forefathers did it,
Well, they
you
did it
know?
during the time of 300. When
Yeah.
Leonidas, when he went up against the party, he was like, look, man, shit, hey, this is what we know. This is what we gonna do. Some of us we ain't gonna make it back, but hey, we're fighting for our cause. That reminded me of that speech also in Space Jam when them niggas was getting their ass blown out by them Toon Squad. Michael Jordan was in the fucking locker room. He was giving them the breakdown, and this nigga Daffy Bugs Bunny, he came with some water and called that shit the special sauce. Man, them niggas got amped up off water, bro.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. God.
Yeah, but that going to what you're saying, not Yarad, that's important that this man keeps your identity of an Israelite away from you. Because when you have that, you understand your background is like, I come from a warrior tribal people. I come from a people that are righteous rebels
Yeah.
that always rebelled against establishments of that current wicked power, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because if Jake knew their history, man, there would be all kind of camps right now.
Yeah, Khan. Hell
But
yeah.
but they tell you came from fucking mud huts in West Africa.
Right.
All they know is fucking being Tyrone.
Clone Tyrone.
Back. You know? I know Nat Turner read this, man.
Yeah,
I know before he went off, I know he read this because they didn't show you all of these apocrypha in that regular Bible.
No.
yeah. Side note, we keep mentioning Nat Turner. They actually have his Bible is still intact. It's at that Black History Museum in DC. I actually saw it.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
So, hey. But yeah, I ain't go off topic. But this is First Maccabees chapter 2, verses 55. It says, Yahawashi fulfilling the word was made a judge in Israel, that being Joshua.
Joshua. Yep.
Caleb, for bearing witness before the congregation, received the heritage of the land. David, for being merciful, possessed the throne of an everlasting kingdom. Elias, for being zealot and fervent for the law, was taken up into heaven. Ananias, Azarias, and Mishael, by believing, were saved out of the flame.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel, for his innocency, was delivered from the mouth of lions. And thus consider ye throughout all ages that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome.
Yeah.
Fear not then the words of a sinful man, For by his glory shall be dung and worms. For his glory shall be dung and worms. Hey, that's
Yeah,
some gangster ass shit. Not
yeah.
gangster, but that's some hard ass shit.
I mean,
It say, today he shall be lifted up, and tomorrow he shall not be found, because he is returned into his dust, and his
hmm
thought is come to nothing. Wherefore, ye, my sons, be valiant, and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law, for by it shall ye obtain glory.
And that's that amp up speech, bro. That right there got them roused up because in back of their mind, you already know Jake was like, wait a minute, we outnumbered. But see, you always have that Jake with that zeal that put that fire in you, man. Like, look,
yeah,
we go out, we gonna do this shit, man. And then
yeah,
when one man shows courage, then it ignites the other courageous spirit in other brothers, man.
yeah.
Kind of, yep,
That's why the scriptures say, hey, man, two is better than one because when one falls down, the other can pick them up. So,
hmm
we feed off each other, bro. Like, when we in the spirit, it's like a fire and a fire, and it becomes a fucking flame after that, man.
hmm
Or, it's an explosion. So that's how the men in the Lord be going, bro, we going to do it so cold, telepathically through the spirit, bro, because when all hell break loose, we going to literally tap into each other's spirits, bro, from
Yeah,
all around, and you going to know, like, all right, hey, the brother voice may come to you in your mind and say, hey, bro, you got this. Bam. And all of a sudden, you may just glow up.
hmm
Things like
Con.
this are going to happen.
Yeah,
Like I remember watching them old Apostle videos, bro, back in the day, man, and they had that beat on and shit. Like, Jacob put like a little beat to the track, man. They going in. I should get amped up in the crib. That shit used to make me want to go out and prophesy on the spot, bro.
yeah,
Get amped up, like hell yeah.
yeah. Con,
Yeah.
right, yep, yep.
con,
That's
man.
why this man, like if you don't know, man, can you get that precept you ride the things written aforetime are written for our learning? Because as you said, my lawyer Jake, this thing we doing like some damn history lesson. No,
Nah,
this we keep saying this, man. This about to be real life today, bro.
relevant,
If you
bro.
ain't ready to be a righteous rebellion, where to be part of that, you really not understanding what this truth about, man. Because it's about to get real nasty and real grimy in this world.
Yes, sir. Yeah, they're talking about now, bro. They said that they just declared the biggest national grid emergency ever. You know what I'm saying? With the power grids and shit, they finna start doing a rolling blackouts. And really all this is just set up the paradigm to bring in this new system, man. They may let it go black for a month, 2 months, and let chaos erupt and commence. And then before you know it, they may turn the lights back on, and then some other shit may happen. Then donate EMP. Bro, when they donated EMP over to Babylon, that's when the murder she wrote. That's when people are gonna turn up. Because I believe that
Mhm.
those frequencies they send in the air is gonna activate that source that's in people already, man.
Yeah,
Y'all saw the bitch that was shooting on the fucking highway, man. Bitch was butt ass naked in a G-string bikini, flaming at niggas, bro.
That bitch holding that shit like this
Yeah,
too.
bro. Like, yeah, like this is
Demon was on
GTA
her
shit,
ass.
bro. Yeah, straight
bro.
GTA type shit. Me, I just
Demon.
would have ran her ass over, man.
Yeah, that's
Lord
what I'm
got
saying.
some
Niggas,
demons out
niggas
here.
not niggas retarded.
Bro,
How
they
they hit that
stopped.
bitch?
Like, oh shit, she's shooting. Like, nigga, you hit the bitch.
Hit the bitch. Everybody scared. You
Lord
the
got
one in
some
the car,
demons out here, boy.
And you would have got off. You would have got off on a technicality because for the simple fact
right?
you could say that you was afraid, man. Somebody
That's
shooting
really
your
a
car,
yeah.
you ain't gonna sit there and get shot. You gonna fucking get out the way.
That's really a fucking act of terror. So you would be in the right.
Yeah,
But you got it, Salakia.
And this is Romans chapter 15, verse 4. It says, whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. That's the perfect precept right there. Because we see the scriptures written down over the course of a period of time, and we all are we can witness our forefathers witnessing their forefathers and getting encouraged by it, man. So the scriptures have literally always comforted us in times of trouble, man. You know?
that's why it's good to read these stories, man. Refreshing. Go back into second really both books of Maccabees are good. It just the chapters are so damn long. I have to put on an audio Bible to kind
Yeah,
of get through some of it because I'll be mentally drained trying to read it all by myself. But
yeah,
read Second Maccabees, the seventh chapter, man, and get in that spirit of really just having that courage, man, because we getting ready to stand against some adversity, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? The biggest thing that's standing in the way of Esau, Edom, New World Order is the prophets, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? These people out here, they gonna willingly bow down. And you know Esau gonna have fighting, you know, against governments among in people, but he ain't worried about them. He got military for them.
Right.
We the ones with the spiritual message that cannot be defeated. So he wants us.
Yeah. Con. That's why he always is hungry to corrupt the prophet, man. He always wants a man to go off. That's why you got a lot of these Israelite camps taking bags, you know, because if he can get the prophets thrown off,
Yep.
then he's won, you know.
The people. Yep. Yep. This is First Maccabees 2 verse 61 again. And thus consider ye throughout all ages that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome. For it said, fear not then the words of a sinful man. Today he shall be lifted up, and tomorrow he shall not be found, because he is returned into his dust, and his thought is come to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Wherefore, ye, my sons, be valiant, and show yourselves men in the behalf of the law, for by it shall ye obtain glory. And behold, I know that your brother Simon is a man of counsel. Give ear unto him always. He shall be a father unto you. As for Judas Maccabeus, he hath been mighty and strong, even from his youth up. Let him be a captain and fight the battle of the people. Take also unto you all those that observe the law, and avenge ye the wrong of your people.
Mm-hmm.
Recompense fully the heathen, and take heed to the commandments of the law. So he blessed him and gathered to his fathers. And he died in the 146th year, and his sons buried him in the sepulchres of his fathers at Moden, and all Israel made great lamentation for him.
Wise counsel, bro. Wise words, man. Be ye therefore
Mm-hmm.
zealous for the law. You know, and
Mm-hmm.
this time we gotta be zealous for Yahawashi and Yahawashi, bro. It's just what it is. I mean, there's no other way. We're this close to getting the kingdom. So,
Yeah.
you know, my thing is let's lock in and let's do it, man. You know, let's get the kingdom, man, for real. Cause we really in a time now that we getting ready to meet Yahawashi, bro.
Con.
I don't know, you know, if that haven't really dawned on brothers, man, yet, but we getting ready to meet our Savior, bro. For one, like out of thousands of years, we actually getting ready to see him and inherit an eternal paradise, bro. That just saying that alone is like, wow, that's heavy, bro. But you've been so messed up in this world so long to the point it excites you, but it's just like, all right, when it go down, then you know, but it's something to really be excited about because it's happening. So.
Right, bro.
I just can't wait, man. But yeah, y'all brothers got any closing precepts, any closing remarks? Hey, have at
If
it.
you if you can get that precept, man, Salaki, it just left my mind. Salaki, y'all brothers got it. It's gonna come back to me.
Quote it.
I just lost it, man. Just had a complete drop. Man.
Yeah,
Salaki,
it'll come back. That's
it'll come
safe.
back.
Con.
No, but what I wanted to say is that Jake, or I got it. You're right. Get that through much tribulation shall we enter into the kingdom.
Mm-hmm. Con.
Cause bro said, man, we about to meet Yahawashi, but Yahawashi himself, this one of my favorites. I come to bring a fire. What will I if it already be kindled?
Mm-hmm.
This place is gonna be fucked up already, man.
Yep.
And Jake, you gonna be required to get your hands dirty.
That's right,
We
man.
already read it. First Maccabees, the second chapter, that it was Jakes out there that didn't want to fight, or they wanted to observe the Sabbath. It's gonna be a point at time your back is gonna be against the wall, man. You may have to put a motherfucker to death. You may
Mm-hmm.
have to do what it takes to live to see Yahweh Shah's coming, man. Whatever it takes, because these are wicked and sinful people that we're gonna be dealing with in the world, man.
Con.
Okay.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 14, starting at verse 21. It says, and when they had preached the gospel to that city and had taught many, they returned to Lystra and to Iconium and Antioch, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of the Most High.
Yep. Much tribulation, man, and we're going through that tribulation now, and it's going to increase until the missiles come. One last precept, Jeremiah 48:10. Cursed be he that doeth the work of the Lord deceitfully, and cursed be he that keepeth his sword back from blood. So, hey, Lord ain't dealing with that timid ass spirit, man. You know, when the Lord says it's time to get down, it's time to get down, man. Straight up. You know, and let the Spirit of the Lord, when the Spirit of the Lord hit, brothers, this is gonna take over, man.
Yeah, come.
Yeah. My biggest fear is I pray I don't go before the Lord calls to do it. You know, because you know, kind of like Matthias, Judas Maccabees, he kind of had that Raphael spirit on him, man. You know, Raphael was willing, he was with the shit, bro. He was with it. You know what I'm saying? Because out of all the turtles, even though Leo was considered a leader, he was more level-headed. Ralph was he was stronger one. He was the more dominant one.
Yeah, that was Simon. Simon was more like a Leonardo spirit.
Yeah.
You notice how the whole thing started off with the Maccabees, because Judas is the one that lost it.
Yeah.
And then they all ended up fleeing. You know, you put them to death. And like, all right, we got to go. You know, that zeal was on him, kind of like Raphael. You know,
yeah, that nigga went up against the whole Foot Clan.
Later kind of guy.
Hey, bro, the nigga battled the whole Foot Clan by himself. He didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, man, damn, this fucking nose ring hurt. But anyway, man, y'all got anything else? We close us out, bro. But anyway, with that, we're gonna close out. Give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahawah.
Want
to give double honor to the apostles, elders, the great millstone, and rule well. Blessings to you, Akim, on the comment board that tuned in. Lord's will you were edified into the next lesson. Shalom and blah blah blah.
Shalom.